Hello, and in this screencast for Apache Isis I want to look briefly at the persistence of value types. So we have the application configured to use the gmap3 plugin, which means we have this rendering, and the every domain object is implementing an interface and it stores this location within it. As you can see, the location is just two numbers, so latitude and a longitude. In terms of the persistence, this is set up by a field of this type location as defined by the gmap3 plugin, and we've annotated with @persistent, and that means that the data gets persisted. But what I want to focus on is how it gets persisted. If you look at this here, which is from the log file, you can see this is the table that gets created when we start up the application. The corresponding column is actually of type long var binary, which is basically a serialized representation of location which is serializable. Now, what we might want to do instead is to store the latitude and longitude, the two intrinsic parts of a location. One way to do that is actually to reach inside the JDO API itself and to use that capability. But if you don't want to do that, another way is just to do it within Isis. So let's see how we would go about doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually replace this field. The way I'm going to do that, I think, is if I create a getter and a setter, and then I'm going to now replace or remove the rest of the field and gut these two. And then I'm going to instead introduce a field which will be a double to hold the latitude, and I'm going to have another one which will be holding the longitude. And I want this to be a column which is allows null is true, and ditto, and we'll have a getter and a setter again, courtesy of Lombok. And the other thing we're going to do is actually hide these, so we don't want them to be appearing. Oops, property hidden is everywhere, or we could actually, we could use programmatic as well as an alternative. And then we are going to, in the getters of the original two methods, the getter of the pickup location, we're going to create these on the fly. So if the latitude is not null, then we'll just new up a location which will take the latitude and the longitude, otherwise null. And conversely, we will set the latitude. So if the pickup location is not null, pickup location dot get latitude, otherwise null, and ditto longitude and setting the longitude. And there's just one more change I need to make, which I don't want this to be editable in its own right, so it still needs to be editing is disabled, and I also actually need to indicate to Isis that this is a non-persisted field, so not persisted is true, I should say. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, the app's running, so let's take a quick look. And it seems fine. We have the fields there. I guess the map also works fine. But the interesting bit is how is it now being persisted. Let's have a look at the log file. Okay, and as we can see here, what we now have is a latitude and longitude as just regular doubles. Okay, so hope that made sense. As ever, give it a go.